Stage 19 is 185 kilometres, setting out from Medina del Campo and actually arriving at the walled city of Avila with just under 100 kilometres to go. So the riders will get a preview of the finish line before heading out on a circuit, taking in two climbs, the third category Alto de Valdavia and the second category Alto de la Paramera. For both the breakaway and the overall favourites, the cobbled rise that kicks in at 2 kilometres could prove decisive, or at least selective, and after flattening out and hitting smooth tarmac, the road kicks up again about 300 metres from the line. It's the sort of finish that suits Dumoulin more than Arrow, assuming they both arrive at it together.
3.7 kilometres remaining for the young Frenchman. And the group of four just aren't getting close. They can't, at the moment, bring him back.
And they're in that precarious position now, that group. Is that Jean Darche?
I think it's Fabrice Jean de Bosch.
Jean de Bosch. So now he's going. He's looking quite a strong move, and he's profiting off all this kind of GC riding that's going on behind. So he can maybe move up. I mean, he's sitting kind of slightly off. He's still up there on GC, but not in quite the privileged position of the top 5 or so, which means that they're not going to jump on him immediately. So it gives him a chance to maybe just get a few seconds.
13th place, confirmation at 13 minutes and 15 seconds. Here's his countryman with just 3 kilometres remaining. And he made his name as a time trialist as a junior, won the French National Junior Time Trial Championship in 2011. And he finished second that year in the Paris-Roubaix Juniors as well. So it's this kind of effort on flat roads on his own that he's actually tailor-made for. Yeah,
and he's not going to be bothered too much but the cobbles going up into Avila either. If he's a time trialist and has ridden well in Paris-Roubaix, this is kind of probably a stage that has been motivated for in that sense. You don't have many cobblestones in racing in Spain, and this is the only day there is this year. So, yeah, he's probably targeted this slightly as the race has gone on and realised how strong he is.
Amador looking over to see what Moina has left in the locker, but the gap, as you can see, well, Goujard has added another 10 seconds. And it seems to me as if this group of 4 are beginning to lose heart that they can do anything about getting to this Frenchman. He dropped Machado and Duque on the climb, and ever since then he has not looked back. He's been on his own, and this is a very, very powerful group of chasers as well, and he's simply riding away from them at the moment.
I mean, you can see the difference in kind of energy when we get the pictures of Goujard. He really does look like he's in full flight, whereas these 3 riders, they're not really doing that because none of them want to get flicked by the others. So that although they're riding fast, they don't want to have the commitment that Goujard has, because he's now all or nothing, whereas the guys behind, they don't want to give all because they might get flicked by the other guy and just end up with nothing. So it turns into a bit of a chess game behind. So Goujard will know that. He now knows that gap's going up at this point in the race. He's now just doing his own time trials to the finish line. Not going to leave anything on the road.
Well, pretty soon he is going to head inside the spectacular city walls there, the old medieval citadel of Avila. And then he's going to hit the cobbles, but he knows with 32 seconds and less than 2 kilometres remaining, this is going to be an individual stage win. This is going to be a solo breakaway win, unless something amazing emerges from this pack, as it did, of course, in 1999, Van der Broek style. Frank Van der Broek, a very, very famous, explosive win here, but I don't think that's going to happen here. I think Goujard's got this.
No, it does look like, I mean, it's often what happens. You get that real explosive sort of finish. Here we are on the very famous climb up. It's only about a kilometre of cobblestones in this little hill, and in the past we've seen bunches coming to this, and then you get to see the real explosivity. But here it's these guys have been in the break all day, so it's a slightly different race. But Goujard knows he just got to get these next 500 metres up here. He's going to turn inside the city walls, and then it's going to go back onto tarmac and a flat and plateau right to the finish line. So he knows it's not far now to get to where it's going to ease off again.
Meanwhile, Alejandro Valverde continues to do his thing on the front here of this group. They're over the top of the climb and they're descending fast. He has a teammate with him as well.
And you can see what's happening here. We've got the Valverde and Quintana sitting there. They know there's a slight crosswind. Look, he's got a gel in his mouth. He's obviously ready to go, and then realised it was crosswind, has just put the hammer down. But again, they're getting chased down by Tinkoff Saxo. So Poljanski is trying to defend Maika's 4th place.
Well, pretty soon Goujard is going to be off the cobbles and through the city walls and heading into the final kilometre. And if his team are relaying information to him, he'll know that he's pretty much got this in the lockers. David Arroyo from Cajarura labours up this climb, and that there too one of the Colombia riders, Fabio Duarte, trying to make ground. But none of those riders are going to get to Alexis Goujard unless there's someone we've missed. Goujard's time gap appears to be 46 seconds, and there is the kite. 1 kilometre to go for the Frenchman, and pretty soon he drops off the cobbles and onto smoother tarmac. So the really hard bit of this spectacular finale is behind him, and he'll probably be able to sit up and enjoy the final few hundred metres of this stage victory that's coming rapidly his way. Amador there, the best of the rest, trying to get across there in the company of Moinard, but Maxime Montfort is finding it all too much. Goujard all on his own, sweeping right-handed now, and he'll know for sure that the victory is his. His only victory to date came this year. He was a stage winner in the 4 days of Dunkirk, and previously he's been a two-time winner of a one-day race called Loire Atlantique, but this is a whole different order of achievements altogether. This is a solo win on a Grand Tour in the final few days of the 2015 Vuelta. 22 years old, an exceptional talent is announcing itself here, and he did it in such style. He just rode everybody off his wheel. He looked strong on the climb, he looked so much fresher than the rest, and in the end nobody could live with him. But he showed determination and self-belief and great talent. They've got a good rider here, AG2R, and this is an important win for the team as well. He's been game, he's tried over and over again. His 4th break on the Vuelta, and this one, Alexis Goujard, has stuck. Famous win for the young Frenchman, and surely a name we'll hear a lot more of in the coming years.
So it's Oliveira who's come by the chasing group and just surprised them. So those 4 guys have been looking at each other and suffering at the kind. Oliveira's caught them up and gone straight by.
Well, Oliveira, the time trialist, of course, has just ripped past that group of chasers. He'll take 2nd place, and there might be a little bit of a tired, fatigued sprint for 3rd amongst that chase group. Indeed, there is. Maxime Montfort, the first to open up his sprint. It looks like Thiago Machado still found some energy from somewhere to try and contest it, as Oliveira crosses himself, takes 2nd place, Montfort in 3rd, Amador in 4th. But the chasers in the end powerless to do anything about Goujard, and it wasn't for want of trying, and that was an impressive win.
And here we can see Astana now back up, controlling it slightly. Valverde ever present. I mean, he's just sitting up there. So it appears he's getting stronger and stronger as the race goes on.
I mean, it's entertaining stuff from Alejandro Valverde, but I question the point of it to some extent. That climb wasn't necessarily suited to making any kind of gains, was it?
But I think it's also for the motivation of the team, morale of the team, and also kind of just to set the tone. If they keep this sort of behaviour, it puts them in a good stead for tomorrow, because I think sometimes within a team, although there are 2 leaders who are 2 of the best riders in the world, I mean, they finished 2nd and 3rd at the Tour de France, these 2 riders we see on the screen at the moment, and, you know, they're in quite not the position they're used to, so they're showing that they're still there, they're still great bike riders.
Alexis Goujard there, a famous win for him, taking the cobbles in his stride in the old town of Avila, and all this still to come for the GC race of Dumoulin, Aru and the rest.
This is brilliant what they're just showing at the moment, by the way. It's just Valverde just laughing, Luis Leon. That's what Valverde, he's just having fun. So he's just having a laugh.
Nothing that anybody on the Vuelta a España could do today about the brilliant solo win from young Alexis Goujard, who took a stunning victory on the streets of Avila, but the group of favourites are now over the top and on the descent. Visconti now, the latest of the Movistar riders, and the ever-attacking Alejandro Valverde ignited again on this descent with just under 12 kilometres to go to the finish line. They are away, and they've taken the green jersey of Joaquim Rodriguez with them, but there's a policeman there in the light blue of Astana. And you could see Aru reacting with Dumoulin on his wheel, trying to get across, and a little gap has indeed opened itself up here.
And we see, look at the Astana, see the Astana rider behind, calling on the radio. I think he's almost asking teammates either to come back or telling them that there's a gap open. It's maybe thinking his teammate who's in front marking the Movistar riders. To be honest, he's useless. So it doesn't matter if he sticks with them. He needs them back there to help him protect Aru. So hence why the guy in front is now looking behind. He's going on the radio. They're just trying to figure out. Now he'll know that they're catching back up. But there was a moment of panic there with Astana, you could see.
And back it comes again, but it's been the feature of this climb and this descent that Alejandro Valverde is just having a bike race here, isn't he? He's just enjoying a day out and showing the world how it's done.
You can see. I mean, it goes to show why he has been at the front of races for so long, and all sorts of races, because I think he just does love bike racing, and this is a clear display of that today. He's just making moves that not many riders would have done. He really does genuinely seem to just be having fun.
There he goes again. Why not?
It's brilliant. I love this. And look, see, it does wear them out psychologically. Eventually, people are like, I'm not going again. It's like, so you kind of want somebody else to cover him. He's obviously on an amazing day, feeling incredibly strong, and he has done exactly that. He's just worn everyone out psychologically, not just physically. They just can't keep going with him.
9 kilometres to go in the Alejandro Valverde show. He's enjoying himself, enjoying a day out on the bike, and he's got Diego Rosa for Astana just with him now, policing it for Fabio Aru.
Which again is pretty useless for Aru, because it makes no difference. Valverde isn't necessarily a threat to Aru on GC, and they're not racing for a stage win. So although he's there, that's not going to slow down Valverde. Valverde's never going to ask Rosa for help. So Rosa should probably just be up there. Let's sit on them for a bit, see what's going to do, then drop back and be there to help Aru. And this is actually playing into Tom Dumoulin's hands as well, because Astana are reacting, Tinkoff reacting. They're all using up their domestiques, and maybe he will actually give it a go on this final climb, because he knows that if the group is whittled down, if it had been a peloton coming into it, for sure Tom Dumoulin wouldn't have moved. But now it's turning into a proper bike race. I think Tom Dumoulin might actually attack on this last climb.
Well, you can see Dumoulin in that group of favourites in about 6th wheel in the red jersey, and there is a kind of 2-second gap in the line as things stand between him and the white jersey of Fabio Aru. So that is something that Aru is going to have to be hugely alert to.
And here we have a giant rider going across. And I don't know if that's Lawson Craddock or John Degenkolb made it over in the end. I think it might be Degenkolb that made it over.
I think it is Degenkolb. I think Craddock is leading out Dumoulin there. I think they're together.
And there they are. And this is a wonderful move, because let's now say that Tom Dumoulin does go on this final climb and John Degenkolb gets across to Valverde here, because now he's stuck. Valverde's dropped Diego Rosa, who wasn't even riding with him. He's
it is Degenkolb. That's John Degenkolb.
So this is a perfect move. So now if John Degenkolb's there and Tom Dumoulin does decide to attack, he's got Degenkolb there in front to then go with him and lead him out, and just ride as hard as he can for as long as he can. Degenkolb now has to try and bridge up to Valverde and sit there and wait and hope that Tom Dumoulin comes up from behind. So Tom Dumoulin, he's strong enough to lose Aru on this cobbled climb. He can put a massive effort in to get up to Degenkolb, and then Degenkolb can then be his teammate and give him a rest and drag him for as far as he can.
Well, Nairo Quintana might be interested in knowing that Alejandro Valverde was 22 seconds behind him in GC today. So I wonder if there might be a reshuffling in team pecking orders at the end of today.
Well, but Paul Jansky's just brought back Degenkolb and Rosa. So I have a feeling that Valverde is not going to be very happy with Paul Jansky and Tinkoff tonight, because he'll be saying, look, it's like, why do you keep chasing me down? Let everyone else. But the bottom line is they're protecting their position, and Micah still has a hope of getting on podium. They don't want to give away that possible podium place to Valverde or Quintana, which is what Movistar are chasing, if not the overall win tomorrow.
Well, Alejandro Valverde is just chasing wind at the moment. I mean, he's just racing for the fun of it and see what happens at the end. And he is making time gains here if he can eke out this advantage and hold it over the line. Fabio Aru has been piloted back up to the rear wheel of, or almost to the wheel of Tom Dumoulin. He lost position a bit there, but Cataldo did a good job for him and brought him up the outside of the pack and back into the position where he needs to be. And
there you got Paul Jansky leading, but John Degenkolb slipped himself into second position from where he was. So Paul Jansky's going to use himself up now on this chase, which is great, because it's basically keeping the pace super high to the bottom of the little cobblestone climb, where Paul Jansky will have to pull off, because he'll be exhausted after chasing Valverde on and off for so long. And you can see Valverde will kind of check over occasionally and just see who's chasing to check out the situation. And he sees that it's Tinkoff Saxo that keep chasing him, so he knows that they're trying to defend their GC place. Hopefully he'll hope that Quintana won't out his counter. Look at Tom Dumoulin where he is. He's got 2 teammates in front of him, so there's a chance here that maybe Giant are going to go on the offence. I mean, which they wouldn't have planned at the beginning of today, but because of the way Valverde's raced in Movistar, they've created a race. It was a bit of a non-race for a while there, and now Movistar have just ripped it to pieces. So now Giant can now profit of that and turn this into something that they wouldn't have planned to do at the beginning of the day.
2.8 kilometres to go, and full commitment once again from Alejandro Valverde. It looked like he might be tempted to sit up and rejoin the pack a kilometre or so back, but he is committed to holding on to his 6-second advantage now. It's all or nothing for Valverde. And
it's interesting to see, contrary to the way Tom Dumoulin was racing with Aru yesterday, where he glued himself to his wheel, Aru's sitting 3 riders back from Tom Dumoulin, when there's a strong chance that Tom Dumoulin will go, because he's got Lawson Craddock and John Degenkolb in front of him. They know Poyanski's going to pull off in a second, because he's just on a massive shift to Tinkoff Saxo rider, and when he does, there we can see in the front, here we go, and this is where now Giant go full gas. So they now do a lead out for Tom Dumoulin, and it's up to him. He might go, in which case Aru better be on his wheel and not have the 2 teammates in front.
2 kilometres to go for Valverde, and the leaders also of the Vuelta pass under that banner, and Tom Dumoulin is 3rd or 4th wheel with 2 teammates in front of him. This is definitely set up for a Dumoulin attack potentially, and there you can see the road snaking up. Pretty soon Alejandro Valverde will be hitting the cobbles on his own. and the cobbles can do damage, or they can become an opportunity for riders to launch an attack. Some can do it, others can't. You'd have thought Valverde will power his way up here. Whether or not he can hold on to that slender advantage
and
with the race
Poljanski pulls off, and now it goes. Now the race will start. Poljanski, there you go on the left. He's done his work. He's shut down, and now the race begins. And here you go, Giant there leading out Tom Dumoulin. So that's Lawson Craddock first, and then you've got John Degenkolb on the wheels. So after Lawson Craddock pulls off, Degenkolb will go.
Well, the climb goes on for quite a while as they catch Valverde and go past him. That's Craddock just going past Valverde now. He's going out the back. Degenkolb grimacing. He can't hang on any longer. Craddock is still there for Dumoulin. Dumoulin holding firm. You can see Aru just lost a bit of... He's just lost a bit of space there to the wheel, so he's got a couple of teammates with him, but he's having to work extremely hard now. This is an opportunity for Dumoulin. Aru has definitely lost ground.
And this is what I said, this is where Aru had to be on Dumoulin's wheel. He's made the mistake of not doing what Dumoulin did to him yesterday, which was gluing himself to a wheel. Tom Dumoulin's got Danny Moreno on his wheel. Aru's lost a critical couple of spaces. Now he's got to close that gap.
All on his own. He is trying to close the gap, and a gap has definitely opened up. These are seconds being lost here by Aru. Seconds he cannot afford to lose as the leader of the Vuelta in the red jersey decides to go it alone. He is now leading up the group of favourites, and he's got Danny Moreno on his wheel trying to make good time. But Aru is losing out here big time. He is dropping time. 1, 2, I think that's about 3 seconds at this point.
Tom Dumoulin cannot hesitate now. He's just got to keep driving it because Aru's at his limit. Although Tom Dumoulin is at his absolute limit here, he has to keep going away because that's just, it is a piece of elastic now. You can see it slightly opening up. And now Tom Dumoulin's on his terrain, which is pan flat, smooth tarmac. And Aru, this is where he can really put time into him.
Off the cobbles now for Tom Dumoulin, onto smoother tarmac. Aru's done well here actually, not to crack completely. He is holding that gap fairly constant. I think it's something like 2 or 3 seconds. We'll know for sure when they cross the line. But Dumoulin, this is an opportunity. By the end of today, he could have doubled his slender advantage, and with the mountain stage coming tomorrow, that could be very significant indeed. Dumoulin bows his head with the effort, and Aru, I think, is coming back slightly. This is a major effort from the Italian.
And you can see Aru, he's flicking his elbow, trying to get Pozzovivo, who's on his wheel, to work with him. Pozzovivo's not going to work with him, and even if he could, he wouldn't be much benefit on a flat road like this. So now it is just mano-mano. You've got Tom Dumoulin, who's got Moreno on his wheel, who's not going to ride with him. You've got Aru, who's got Pozzovivo on his wheel. Pozzovivo's going to try, but it's not going to help. But that shows how flat out Aru is.
Well, you have to respect the Italian's effort here because he is digging extremely deep to limit his losses here. Dumoulin, though, will take the line, and then the clock will start ticking over. He looks over his shoulder. Where is Aru? The answer is pretty close.
Looks about 3 seconds, probably 2 or 3 seconds, which is amazing. That's all thanks to Alejandro Valverde, who just crossed the line. He created that race today, him and Movistar, because if he hadn't made it so difficult and ripped it to pieces, they wouldn't have been exhausted and so forced to race like that on that final little climb.
That was much less predictable than one might have imagined in the end. And absolutely, Tom Dumoulin took the advantage that Alejandro Valverde had given him by opening up the race and asking big questions of the white jersey.
Well, the big question for the white jersey once he'd finished was how to escape the post-stage mob scene. And the answer was with great difficulty. He almost crashed again on his way to the team van. And once he got in it, the driver botched the getaway. If it had been a bank raid instead of a bike race, the pair of them would have been arrested by this point. As it was, Aru's punishment was to sit and wonder how much worse his day could get, while fans took selfies with his wilted figure in the background. Now here's the stage result, or results, since it was 2 separate races. Alexis Goujar had 40 seconds over his nearest pursuer Nelson Oliveira, and the rest of the break filled the first 24 places. Tom Dumoulin was 25th, 3 places and 3 seconds ahead of Fabio Aru. Alejandro Valverde, who'd kicked it all off, led the other favourites in another 6 seconds back. Now all that is subject to whether the judges spotted what looked like Fabio Aru getting a handsling from Luis Leon Sanchez on the run-in. Not easy to see, but Sanchez is alongside and slightly ahead of Aru as they disappear under the trees, and when they come out you can just see him launching his teammate up the road in pursuit of Tom Dumoulin. We'll have to wait and see whether the commissaires saw it and want to do anything about it. Now we've seen some good onboard pictures in the Vuelta, and tomorrow we should get a shot from this camera attached to the bottom of the champagne bottle being shaken by the stage winner.
Alexis, félicitations, vous l'avez gagné dans la façon dure.
Merci. Ouais, c'est vrai que c'était pas une journée facile aujourd'hui, surtout avec la journée d'hier qui était vraiment pas simple. Aujourd'hui, j'ai vraiment pris du plaisir sur mon vélo, même si les premiers kilomètres ont été un peu durs, les jambes dures. Et dans le final, j'ai vraiment pris du plaisir.
Et c'était un contre le montre enfin, contre 4 coureurs, vous l'avez gagné. C'était bien pensé.
Ouais, j'avais vu au briefing sur le circuit que le vent était favorable dans le final. Après, c'était vraiment pas facile avec les longues lignes droites et les faux plats montants. Il fallait bien gérer son effort et ils sont pas rentrés très loin de moi à un moment et je commençais à me poser des questions. Mais une fois qu'on est parti, on fonce, quoi.
Et gagner une étape dans un grand tour, c'est comment?
Je réalise pas là, mais c'est juste énorme.
Joaquin Rodriguez, like all the favourites, was thinking as much about the stage to come as the one just finished and impressed by the strength of Valverde and co.
Los ha visto un Movistar que está muy animado, Astana que hoy ha tenido una caída muy fuerte, Aru a ver cómo recupera y el líder que está también fuertísimo, ¿no? Entonces veremos a ver cómo somos capaces de solucionarlo.
Siempre el podio abierto, ganar y perder, todo abierto.
Sí, la verdad que sí. Pero bueno, se ve un poco que cada uno está en su situación. Entonces ojalá fuese tercero con piernas de primero, pero me parece que no es así. Me parece que el que va primero está mejor que ninguno.
He was certainly good enough to take time out of everyone else today, Tom Dumoulin. Psychologically useful ahead of tomorrow's stage in the mountains, as well as actually extending his lead, however slightly. There it is, 6 seconds now over Fabio Aru, possible penalties notwithstanding, with everyone else 9 seconds further back than they were this morning.
Tom, first of all, the stage started with a crash. What happened?
I don't know, we were just riding easy actually, but in echelons because the wind was from the side. Somebody touched the wheel and half of the Astana team went down. And I didn't really go down, but my bike was broken, so I had to change it.
And then the stage finished almost perfectly, and you've doubled your lead. Even if doubling your lead doesn't win you the Vuelta outright, it was well thought out.
Yeah, we thought already before the stage about it. If there would be a chance, then I would take it. And it's a finish that suited me really well on the cobbles and just a powerhouse finish. And yeah, I don't know if it's useful, the 3 seconds, we'll see tomorrow, but every second can count.
Tom, how do you look forward to the stage tomorrow, knowing that you only have 6 seconds?
It's going to be a big chaos. Every team will go all in, and they will for sure try to get me down, to get me out of this jersey. And but today I think we showed that we do have a strong team here. There were some doubts about that, but in a small group like that, to have 2 riders and 2 really strong riders really made a difference, and I think we can do it tomorrow.